Hello, listeners. You're listening to 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. I am Satyal.
And I'm Silwal, and we are a weekly podcast from the Himalayas.
When it's a Tuesday and it's 7:30, you know it's time for perspectives, conversations, and stories.
27th episode. Woo, woo, woo. All right. So before we jump into this episode, reflecting back on the 26th episode, it was all about traveling and the views. Yeah. Not so much.
Yeah, we don't care about those anymore.
But it is about touching a few lives, and one life that we touched was Jenissa's, who wrote to us saying that
all the way from Australia.
All the way from Australia. Woohoo!
Australia, mate. Exactly.
And she talked about how it was one of our best episodes, and she was thanking us for connecting with Nirvana, because Nirvana is living that dream. And that just feels good to hear that from our listeners, and not a lot of listeners, but
it's that little bit of life touching that you do.
Yeah, and that's what we are looking for. So that was really awesome.
Kudos to us. All right, so for the 27th Tuesday, what else can we talk about?
Dashain,
So Dashain is upon us, and how do you know? Well, it's just the weather is Dashain.
Yeah.
Everyone's excited to go home, but more importantly than that, and that's the crucial thing, the most important thing, Dashain is around the corner, is the rate of ads on the paper and on Facebook and the subsequent shopping sprees that follow.
Yeah, why not? Why not go shopping? Because this is the time where I can go and buy things that I really don't need, but I have to have, because these are all these companies, from car manufacturers to shopping centers
to gadgets and gizmos.
They are literally reducing their profit margins just so that I can fill that void that I might have not known by looking at all these things that are out there in the market.
Yeah, because they want you to be happy, because it's Dashain time.
Yeah,
right?
and it's all about buying new things, right?
It's very easy, to give away your products at lesser price, probably lesser than what their profit line, just so that you, consumers like you, become happy, because Dashain is about happiness.
Yeah, I don't need that VR set, but suddenly, hey, that's for 1,400 rupees, and that has a 50% discount. Why not buy it?
And you know why you're buying it? Because that will make you happy.
I guess so, because why else would companies be giving so much of discounts at this rate at this time of the year?
Yeah, definitely, because my life was so incomplete for the past 1 year, and it's Dashain time, and now with all the products and all these marketing ads, they are promising that they will make my life happy, and they're promising that something is missing in my life, and I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Because who wouldn't want 5 extra new pairs of jeans, 7 extra shoes, a new bed sheet?
It's always better to have a backup, because I suddenly realized we just have 2 feet. But it's better to have 5 jeans.
Yeah, and plus, the Tika Day is goes on for 3 or 4 days. Every day you have to wear new clothes.
Definitely, yeah. Because if you don't...
Because I'll tell you why. On the first day you're going to get a tika on your shirt or on your pants.
Yeah, and when they say babu and then they pat you on your shoulders, you're definitely going to get that.
So we have to buy new things and buy new clothes, because every day after the tika, we have to wear that and get all the red stains on our shirts and then buy a new one.
Yeah, because if I wear the same clothes the next day, people will perceive that I don't have the money. I didn't have the money, right. And I can't show them that. I need to show them that I'm happy.
Yeah.
And these products will make me happy. That was incomplete. But Silwal, what would you do? You talked about the VR set costing 1,400. That's fine. But I think you need a new bike as well, because everyone else is getting a new car and a new bike.
Yeah, why not? Because...
But do you have the money though?
I'm gonna get a loan. I don't know. I don't care about if I have the money or not. I just have to show it to other people that I have things and I have the power to spend and have this lavish life that I pretend to live.
That will make you seem that you're happy, you're rich, you're content, and you're financially stable. What more do you want?
Because after all, this is what Dashain is.
It's show off, right?
I don't know.
Where have we gone wrong?
Not necessarily that we've gone wrong, but we've been more capitalistic in our festivities. Our festivities are more about all the family members, relatives, friends coming together and sharing happiness. Dashain is about good triumphing over evil.
Definitely.
And somehow we've now in this generation where we have to buy new clothes because that is good.
Yeah.
That is new.
If Dashain is about goddess Durga triumphing over evil,
Yeah.
it means that good always wins over evil, right? So that was supposed to be the whole idea of Dashain, and to tell us that we should be good and not evil. So if you take into consideration the capitalistic Dashain, does that mean
I think we've just found the title of our
the
episode.
capitalistic Dashain. So if you have a new pair of clothes,
Yeah.
is it trying to tell me that I can get away with all the sins that I've been committing for the past 1 year?
The thing is, buying a new pair of clothes is good, right? This is Dashain, and it has always been, ever since we were born, we've been brought up in this tradition where we buy new things on Dashain, buy new clothes. It's buying that fifth pair or that sixth pair. We go overboard in our journey to find ourselves happy in materialistic things by going overboard with all the things that is around there, and that is where we've lost our way in terms of what real Dashain is, or the value of real Dashain is.
So that's a great point you make there, Silwal. And I know you've been doing a lot of research for this episode, and you have a very good case for this argument.
Yeah, because Dashain has always been about celebrating with your families and friends, and almost 4 years ago I was traveling. I'll give you a backdrop of this, where I learned this. Almost 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I was doing the Gorepani Punil trek, and I was with a bunch of my friends, and we came across this Israeli guy. Amazing stories that he had, and we were exchanging our cultures and our ideas and what was happening. And I was talking about how we celebrate Dashain, because Dashain and Tihar, that is what one of our major festivities are.
True.
So he talked about one of his cultural festivities that they share, that is Yom Kippur. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yom Kippur.
Yeah. So in that day, what he talked about was, on that day, they get away from all the gadgets, all the everything. They sit in a room and they contemplate on life. Because what their books, or their religion, or whatever it is that says, is that God may remove all your sins, but he does not remove the sins of man. So you might ask for forgiveness for God for the things you might have committed wrong, and God will forgive you for that. But the sins you've committed against other people, he will not forgive you. So on that day, they reflect and they think about where they have gone wrong against other people. So, and on that day, they either go to their relatives or people who they have wronged and ask for forgiveness. If it could be, Satyal, I don't know if I've been bad to you, in the past 6 months, but maybe if one day I was rude to you or something, just ask for your forgiveness because I was not being a nice person. And that somehow connected with how Dashain is as well. Dashain is all about families and friends and
good over evil.
Yeah, good over evil. And the real reason, or what I consider a real reason for the celebrating Dashain is, you're with your families and friends, and you go to your distant relatives for whom you've not had contact with for a year or so, and then you
definitely
go to them, and then you be like, hey, hi, what's life? And maybe not asking for forgiveness per se, but celebrating happiness. And that is one thing that I found. So every religion and every culture has something similar to it. But again, coming back to Dashain and how things are going,
relating with the festival or the culture you talked about, as shared by your Israeli friend, we have a lot more holiday during Dashain time than other times of the year, right? So you talked about self-reflection, and if you are a regular listener of the podcast,
we've always
we always talk about self-reflection. So probably this comes at a good time to reflect on, like you said, the good things you've done, or the not so good things that you might have done, and the things that you might want to atone for, in a way.
And plus, the need versus want, right? There are certain things that you absolutely need. For example, a new pair of jeans. But do you really need that third pair of jeans? All right. So maybe you need it. You have reasons for it. But just try to see.
But are you aware? Are you conscious of your need? That is what we are coming to.
Because in some ways, Rivas rightly put it on the status that you put a few minutes ago on how kids these days are more into, the gadgets, and, they're running around with gadgets rather than lottais and zangas.
Yeah.
That shows that we've slightly gone somewhere else. Maybe it's the technology, maybe it's how we've been fed over the last few years on what Dashain is all about. And the real reason, the core reason of Dashain is somehow being lost in this capitalistic, societal scenario where we have to, give more than we have more than we want.
And show more than you can really afford.
Yeah.
And we're talking about capitalistic Dashain, and a lot of families, I'm sure you, our listeners, are going to get, we hope you get a lot of money from your parents, but you'll get a little bit of money from your parents. Now, if you are into this habit of showing off, you'll probably spend it into something that you don't really need.
Yeah. At that time, you might think you might need it, but reflect back, and
we'll probably remind you after Dashain and make you think about your purchases. Then you'll know if you really need it or not. But what we're coming at here is, maybe you are really into photography and you want a new camera.
Yeah.
So let's say your dad gives you 4,500. Wow. Because he's also having a very hard time, and he gave you 4,500. That's a really good amount of money. Maybe you can save that and pay that toward buying your new camera, instead of just buying new clothes to show off to your friends or family.
I'll tell you, this is something that we've been doing for some time. When I was small, like really young, I wanted this remote control car. And that was absolutely,
I think everyone did.
Yeah,
and I did too.
That was absolutely what I wanted. So what I did was I saved all the Dashain Tika and dakshinas and all, and 50% of it was from my mom, and 50% from my savings, and it went towards buying that remote control car. So if there is something that is your remote control car that you really desire, that you really want at this age, at this point, maybe refer back to becoming a kid again, and remember what really made you happy about Dashain and all.
Yeah, that's a great point you make. Silwal's talking about a remote control car because that was a decision he made as a kid, and that was very profound, the way he managed the funds.
Yeah.
But what we're coming to here is a passion that you might have, or something that will help you grow and contribute in any ways. So you can probably pay toward that. So this again comes back to the conscious decision making that we talked a lot about, right? If Dashain is a fresh start, and if it's good over evil, it's time to start that goodness within you or better yourself. And this could be a perfect way to do it, rather than getting sucked into this capitalistic notion to Dashain. And I love the word, man. Capitalistic Dashain. It's like
capitalistic
amazing.
Dashain. Say it again.
Marketers are going to hate us for that, but well, that's how it is.
So, we're not saying that you should not enjoy Dashain, because Dashain has always been about buying new clothes and eating good food and, celebrating with your families and friends. But our concern is, I'm reiterating once again, we go overboard. And
happiness does not come from that extra pair of jeans or that extra pair of sunglasses that you buy, right? It comes with spending time with family, friends. It's being around with people who share the same values as you do, and finding happiness in the little things. So you don't need to go overboard, like Silwal said, to find happiness in Dashain. But talking about Dashain, one interesting thing is Silwal does not really have Dashain this year.
Yeah.
He does not have the Dashain, and definitely does not have the capitalistic Dashain. So I'm really interested to know what things you will miss.
Yeah.
And what things you will not miss about not having Dashain this year?
It's very easy for me to differentiate, because ever since I can remember, I've always celebrated Dashain. This is the first year where one of our family members passed away, so we're not having that Dashain because it's not that time to cultural things, whatever, religion and but what I like about not celebrating Dashain is I don't have to be glamorous. I can go on living the same life that I've lived for the last 6 months.
Yeah, very frugal life that is. We live a very frugal life.
Yeah, frugal life, eating just the right amount, buying the things that I really need, and, not going on this shopping spree that marketers have led us to believe that that's what we need. what I miss about Dashain, or what I miss about Dashain this time, is the family that is there, the core value. Because my grandparents, I love them to bits. They're getting older each year, and this is one year where I would not be essentially putting a tika on my head. I will always get their love and support, and it'll be there. But there's something about Dashain, right? You talked about the Dashain vibe in the sun rays that we
it's already
feel,
upon
right?
us.
It's already upon us, but that is one thing that I'll miss. And I also want to go out and fly kites, and which I'll probably do regardless of having Dashain or not. That's the beauty of it. This is this long holiday, but I can reflect back on my life. I can really look at things, and it just does not have to be Dashain. This is this amazing vacation where I can go to my relatives and be like, hey, I'm not celebrating Dashain, but hey, how have you been, and how are things like? And I think that's my Dashain for this year. Even though I'm not putting the obligatory tika and getting the dakshina, I'm obviously going to miss my dakshinas.
Yeah, true.
Right? But I love Dashain. There is something about Dashain, the entire month. From Ghatastapana till even Tihar, and this entire month. This is an amazing place. But I sometimes feel sad when we've lost out on the essence or the core values of what Dashain was supposed to mean. Because everyone will resonate with me when I say Dashain was more fun as kids, and somehow along the way we've grown up and we've stopped enjoying Dashain. So
that was probably because like you always say, we're at our purest when we are kids.
Yeah.
So we're not really drawn into the capitalistic Dashain. Yeah, we want new clothes, we want toys, but we wouldn't really know if those cost a lot more than our friends or our cousins.
The value of people versus value of things.
Yeah.
We put more value on things these days, and plus there's this wrong idea about how by giving more dakshina you have a better social standing than someone who doesn't. And I kid you not, every one of us at one point of our time has looked at someone and gotten like 5 or 10
down
rupees,
on them.
5 or 10 rupees on a beautiful envelope with little red stains on with their fingers, and we've been like, Cheh.
Yeah, I expected much more.
Yeah, I
and
expected
the person
much
has
more from
somehow
you.
fallen from grace in your eyes.
Yeah,
right?
someone who gives us let's say 200 or 500 or 1,000 is somehow he's a big shot, he's a big person, and that associations with people has put me off from what Dashain has.
But
really
now
been about.
we realize how the capitalistic Dashain has
love the name.
Worked in our society. So even if someone who's giving you a 500 rupee note might be giving it just to impress everyone around, but might be in so much of debt after Dashain, but someone else who's just giving you a 50 rupee note or 75 rupee note might be giving you with that with
love
all
and,
their love
and support,
and that was all that they could afford, but they're still giving you that, and it was nothing of a show off. So we need to understand that people come from different backgrounds, and Dashain need not be an occasion for social anxiety.
That's absolutely right. Social anxiety because of the capitalistic Dashain. So we're almost at the end of our episode. This has been about Dashain and how capitalistic it has been. Reflect back on life and look at things that are happening right now. Try to enjoy Dashain. I don't want to be preachy and say that don't overspend, but if you have the money, go on, spend as much as you can. Take Silwal and Satyal out for a treat. We don't mind.
And just get into the conversation and just tell us what you think about the capitalistic Dashain. Even though it's Dashain next week, we'll still be back, because when it's a Tuesday and it's 7:30, it's time for perspectives, conversations, and stories.
Alright, that was it.
Happy Dashain, people!
Happy Dashain!